best GTA 5 online off-roading vehicles. These 5 vehicles are in no particular order, but are, in my opinion, the best vehicles for off-roading in GTA 5 online. And this also goes for offline, but few of these vehicles are not available for offline. First up, coming in, no particular order again, but just showing them off is kind of the order I'm going to go in. We have to have the sand. Actually, you know, I have to put this in number order. Never mind. Coming in at the number 5 spot has to be the Sand King. So the reason the Sand King is even on this list, and it was kind of hard because I was torn between this and also there's 3 categories for these kind of vehicles. So the reason I had to put this on was because this is the original. This is the OG of GTA 5 off-roading. This thing was the closest thing we had to a monster truck for years, and then is also has this insanely huge jacked up lift kit that, except for the monster truck and few other vehicles, is arguably the biggest vehicle in the game with one of the best suspensions I've ever seen for a GTA 5 or GTA vehicle. This vehicle is also amazing off-road. In this track right here, it just tears it up. Like you guys can see, it just whoosh. And this is also a very cheap vehicle considering you can get it for free with a lot of upgrades. In fact, you can get it with the bed cap There's one you can get with a bed cap, the lowered suspension, full engine upgrades, full transmission upgrades, and all that. On the side of the road with, you know, just all you need to do is add some off-road rims, and that thing is amazing. And of course, remove the lowered suspension, and that thing would be just amazing for off-road. And then there's another one you can get, and they're all 4-door. That is yellow. It's got the 2-bar kind of roll cage looking bed, and that thing just has, you know, some immense power too. We have full upgrades. You can find those by the Los Santos Customs in Blaine County, right by Trevor's Airfield. I'll show it off in a second, basically where you can find them. And yeah, this thing just tears it up. So let me just go ahead and show you guys on the map. If you bring a 4-door Sand King around here and just drive it through this area during the day, you will find this is the LS Customs. Right across the street from the LS Customs, you'll see some RVs and a yellow or blue, light blue Sand King XL with either a bed topper or the thing. So yeah, coming in at the number 4 spot, and this really honestly was another one that was torn between the Contender and this is got to be actually this might be the Contender. No, the Vapid Guardian. This was almost torn between the Contender because the Contender does have the off-road ability, but this thing is just a monster. This vehicle right here, even though it can't haul, which I was very disappointed about when I saw it, I'm like, oh my god, this thing's got to be able to pull like a freaking semi-trailer or some crap, but it can't. But this thing just has immense power. You can tell by the whole freaking thing that it's like modeled after diesel. Even though there aren't diesels in the game, it's modeled after one basically. And yeah, this thing just can tear it up. Like, you know, you put some off-road wheels on this thing and you take it somewhere, I guarantee you could tear it up with this thing. As you guys see here, I take it on our off-road, I just tear it up. Like, this thing has the weight. Not only does it have the weight to prevent, you know, kind of spinning out, it just has the capability to pull that weight. Now, I did actually not spin out, but flip once because of my human error, but still. As you guys can see, I don't spin out. I don't physically spin out in the 2 laps I take. Well, at least not badly, you know. Like, there's little things that I guess you'd say spin out, but really and truly, it's not much of a spinning out. More or less, just kind of human error, you know. Like right there where I smashed the hood of my vehicle, and right here where I, you know, again, almost crashed the hood of my vehicle onto the dirt. It's kind of human error. And right here. Yeah, this truck takes this turn very amazingly, and in fact, you know, very few vehicles I take on that little turn can even successfully do it because most of them just are going too fast and don't have the braking power, or going, you know, they just can't handle the drift. And again, it's got immense power for drifting. You know, this thing takes it as like a beast. And I was gonna include as well, like one muscle car kind of thing to have on here, like a saber tooth or something like that. But obviously, this has to be it. I'm gonna be doing another one, like top 5 best, you know, off-road cars. You know, kind of like including certain vehicles that are not technically off-road vehicles. So yeah, let's go ahead and just jump out of this thing now, and let's just go over to yeah, back here. Let's go ahead, and at the number 3 spot has to be the... Oh, why am I going to the monster truck? I literally walked over to the monster truck. It has to be the Insurgent. And the reason for this is because... The reason this is, number 3 is because this thing is amazing. This thing can conquer pretty much anything. And as well that, if you're going off-road, and there's stuff in your way, there's a freaking truck, or there's a car, or something is in your way, not only can you take this thing is meant to be off-road, as, I'm pretty sure it's like a military class. Lightweight trucks. Oh, lights up. Never mind. Yeah, it is an off-road class vehicle, and this thing can tear it up. Plus, if the reason I would go off-road in this is because I'm going on the highway, there's some cars in the way, and there's another player annoying me. Go off-road, and if he gets in your way while he's annoying you in his little supercar, you ram him, make him spin out, and then boom, bing bang boom, you can take off, and he won't, be able to catch up for, a couple of seconds at least. And just look at this baby. Look at this baby. Oh man. Yeep. Oh boy. Oh boy. But yeah. Oh crap. Oh boy. Alright. But as you guys can see, this thing is just like tearing it up. Amazing. It's got that insane, immense power that like no other truck has. Look at this, look at this. Oh boy. There it goes. Alright. Oh crap. And there we go. And then, again, unlike any other truck, this thing just has the power to ram something out your way and can go off-road, which, again, is something I very much like. So let's just teleport back over here. Let's pull up right here. And then coming into the number 2 spot has to be the Coil Brawler. Now, I was very, very torn on either this being number 1 and that being number 2. And I'll get more into that number 1 in a second, but of course, that actually kind of doesn't count very much, but of course I have to count it anyways. But the reason the Coil Brawler is on this list is because number 1, this thing is just freaking. If you drop this thing down, let me just start with number 1. Okay, if you drop this vehicle, if you add in the best suspension, put on some normal on-road wheels, or even leave the stock wheels because they look very nice, or you put some custom off-road wheels on this, and you can make this look like a normal sports car, or even a supercar. Drop it on Los Santos, and then somebody gets in your way. They don't know that this thing is A, 4x4, or B, an off-road vehicle. You just they get in your way, they get annoying, you just go off-road and you tear it up, you go taking it off-road. And look, this thing has the drifting ability of a normal car, with the added benefit of being a 4x4. Now, next I'm going to be talking in the next video, or actually in this video, but not technically off-road vehicles. Basically, like, in this video I've decided it's basically going to be like 5 vehicles that could technically be off-road vehicles, and they're the best for, improvising. Like, let's say you need to go off-roading or something like that, but you don't have the money to buy them, but you have these vehicles in your garage, because obviously everybody knows what vehicles can be used, because literally any vehicle can be used for off-roading, but not every vehicle can be used for like mudding and Mount Chiliad and stuff. So that's where a lot of these vehicles come into play. Ooh, there we go. So yeah, but yeah, those are the 5 vehicles, and then of course, I was planning on doing more, but I think honestly quality would be kind of trump the quantity, or quantity kind of trumps a little bit of quality, you know what I'm saying? Because I'll have multiple sets of vehicles as opposed to multiple tests for 5 vehicles, because not everybody can afford these vehicles. Sand King, yes, everybody can afford, pretty much. Oh my bad, I did not even get into the monster truck. So this vehicle probably really and truly shouldn't even be on this list, considering the pure fact that it is very, very rare to get. Like, only exclusive returning players, or people who were around when they released it for Independence Day update, the Independence Day special, could get any monster truck. So either this is not only the Cheval Marshall, but the Liberator, because they both have the same engine, but just a different body slapped on top, which obviously you can understand, but still. Let's go ahead and just take this out. Oh boy, I don't believe that the one is faster than the other. I do plan on testing that in the future, though. As you guys can see, this thing is just wow. Oh boy. And again, this thing can. Now, there's one place where this thing trumps any other thing, even though it's not best on speed and it's not best for maneuverability or something like that. Where this thing trumps any other vehicle is right over here. So let's go ahead and just teleport there. There we go. where this vehicle has its trump card is right over here in this ocean. Oh boy. So yeah, it can run over cars, but that's not what you want to use it for. You want to use it for off-road uses. Look at this sweetness, this thickness. Look at it. Most cars will just drown right there. Look at this. This thing can go literally cross lakes with no issues. Like, given that's actually a pretty shallow part of the lake, but look at this. I'm going deep, and look, the engine is actually quite high up. So even though your wheels are completely submerged, you're still fine. Even right about here, you're still fine. You know, once that little, basically once it comes up to the bed of the truck, that's when you're kind of scarred. Like, on the right side, right about here is where you're kind of gonna become getting worried, and where you should like realize, oh crap, let me just stop right now. Like right here, you could drive through this whole, I think this is the LS River or Lake Zancudo or Lago Zancudo or whatever. Look at this, like look at my ego. Oh man, look at this. This thing can just tear it up, and we're on water right now. Most vehicles, even the Sand King, would just crumble at this point, which is very, very impressive. And of course the waterfalls and all that, but yeah, right here is where you kind of scarred, and even then you could just about float. So yeah, let's exit now, and let's go ahead and start with, of course, something I have to bring is going to be next 5 vehicles that are not exactly off-road, but can very easily be used as off-road vehicles. So, if you don't know what I mean by that, I mean by like muscle cars that can do off-road and stuff like that, which there are a lot of those in game. A lot of people don't realize how many vehicles can do off-road, thinking that only, the trucks can do off-roading. But given a few of the vehicles that are going to be on the list that I have for the secondary, a lot of these vehicles are actually a lot better than a few, like the Bobcat or even the Saddler. Honestly, I did also, for those of you Dodge fans out there, like myself, I did very much want to put the Bison on this list as well, but, if it was a top 10 and I could do top 10, the Bison would definitely be on here. And, a couple of different vehicles that, I would love, to put on, but it does not fit in the top 5, maybe 6th or 7th place. Alright, and I'm just stating that out of fact because there's a monster truck it's going up against. Alright, but yeah, but let's go ahead and get into the next set of vehicles that, are like the best off-road vehicles that aren't technically off-road. So we have to start with, if I could find it, number 1, crap. I am in a new gaming chair, by the way, for those of you who don't know. I'm not using my normal chair anymore. I'm using a chair that I use when I'm out in my living room, but my mom said I could borrow it, so it's pretty lit. Primo Custom, no. Even though that kind of could be put on this list, no. I just have to say no. Oh, not there. Muscle cars. Oh, yes, definitely this, I think. Yeah, Burger Shot Stallion. But honestly, I have to have one rare car on here anyways. So I would say pretty much any of these stock car vehicles, race car, like Pisswelzer Dominator, Redwood Gauntlet, Burger Stallion, and the Bravado. No, never mind the Bravado, the Buffalo. Never mind the Sprunk Buffalo. The Sprunk Buffalo shouldn't be on there, but yeah. So there we go. Number 1 has to be the Faction Custom Donk. All right, that's number 1 right there. Number 1 has to be the Faction Custom Donk. You just can't have, a set of off-road vehicles that aren't technically off-road without that. Like, for real, you just can't, alright? You can't. So, honestly, I would actually include another muscle car, but I don't think I need to. However, the Phonics would be a nice 3rd muscle car, but nah. I kind of want to get out of the muscle car area, for now at least. Number 2 has to be the Burger Shot Stallion, or pretty much any of those kind of stock car looking vehicles. So yeah, that's pretty. Those are very good vehicles for off-roading. Obviously. Where are you? Ooh, there you are. The Drift Tampa, not really, but I'm honestly gonna put it on here just because I think it should. I think that's the vehicle I'm looking for, though. I could be wrong. And then no, definitely not. Ooh, no. I don't think that's it, but I could be wrong. Stinger GT may be the one I'm looking for. Oh, Conquest Classic right there. There we go. That's the 5, I think. Ooh, Casco. Ooh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and go through here, make sure there's not a vehicle I'm missing out on that could be. Alright. And then supercars, no, I'm not gonna do supercars. SUVs, I'm kind of counting as off-road vehicles, even though they're technically not. Because obviously the Dosta 6x6 should have been on that list, but of course was trumped out. Even though it is very, kind of honestly not as good of a off-road vehicle as it looked, because it's not exactly 6-wheel drive, or at least when I drove it, it wasn't 6-wheel drive. So I honestly want to change the color a little bit. Let's see. Ooh, race yellow might look good for a couple of these. Race yellow. Ooh, that looks pretty nice actually. I want to place down 2 just so that way, you know, I can have one that isn't an off. A look like that. Let me see what this thing looks like in race yellow. Ooh, doesn't look too bad. I'm not gonna. I have to mess with this one though. Race yellow, and then you know, I'm just gonna make them all race yellow. Race yellow. There we go. All right. So these, if you know, there's 5 vehicles that you could have in GTA 5 Online that aren't technical off-road vehicles, like, you know, muscle cars, sports cars. Not gonna include the or SUVs for this part. But if you needed those kind of vehicles, right here is what you would want to use. Let's go to RPG. There it is. These are what you want to use if you'd have, you know, needed an off-road, like a, you know, sort of off-road vehicle. So let's go ahead and get into it with number 5, actually, instead of number 1, which is going to go ahead and be the Drift Tampa. So this thing, even though it's classed under sports car, you could clearly tell it is meant to be a muscle car. So let me just adjust my headset real quick. My bad. There we are. Muscle car. It is clearly meant to be a muscle car. Just listen to it. And, you know, when you take off, it doesn't have the exact muscle car attribute as, like, you know, spinning the tires. It's actually got a straightaway pickup, like, you know, it doesn't spin the tires and stay in place. So I guess that's why it's not a muscle car. But still, this would be number 5. Simply because it does have that, you know, the stock version at least has that little thing right there, the bumper, which just destroys ground clearance. But, yeah, you know, I could imagine this thing with a lift kit. Plus, it's got some wide tires, which makes it a very good for getting traction, because obviously the wider the tires, the more traction alright, let me phrase that. The wider the tires are, the more traction you get, because the more rubber that meets the road, and then the faster you go, or the faster you take off, and the higher speed you get. But yeah, this thing, you guys can see it takes pretty decent off-road tour. Of course, you know, these are derby tires, they're yeah, I guess derby tires, not off-road sort of tires, but still, you know, they could handle it. It could, you know, tear it up a little bit. But yeah. Okay, you know, again, right there, that is just an example of the tires, because, again, if it was off-road tires, it would just not have that issue right there. It would have been, you know, it wouldn't have slid. Like right here, it's going to slide a little bit because it doesn't have off-road tires, but of course none of these do, you know. So yeah. And then the next list is going to be like SUVs and, you know, vehicles that are kind of off-road, but not exactly off-roady. So yeah, ooh. There we are, and then boom. Let's just drive over to where our vehicles are now. So yeah. Oop, 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 oop. No, 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 no. Hold up. Let me get it perfect. No, 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 no. I love that. Alright, so coming in at number 4 will definitely have to. Well, I mean, I guess, you know, it's here now. Not the Bison though. Like, that's kind of truck. But number 4 would have to be the Conquest Classic. And the reason for this is because, or I think, no, Inverto Conquest Classic is because this thing, even though it's a sports car or a sports classic, this thing can just tear it up. This thing is fast. Like, this was originally one of my favorite vehicles when it came out with the San Andreas Flight School update. I had one of these in primary matte red and then secondary crew color, or other way around. It was really cool though. It was really beautiful. You know, I loved it, but I had to get rid of it because I needed the money for something new. So yeah. But this thing can tear it up. I use it on off-road a lot. If you guys go check out my older videos on my old channel, I'm not going to be giving it out because I really don't like people go on that channel very much. I want to kind of get it back, but those of you who have been here since the very beginning, you guys know I use this a lot. And this thing was just amazing. You know, I put some off-road rims on it, took this baby out on Mount Chiliad, and this thing just tore it up. And the thing was that you know, it had pretty much no traction issues on Mount Chiliad, you know. I mean, other than a few here and there hit or miss areas where it's like that with Sand King and a couple of other vehicles, you know, this thing was up there, you know. Of course, it was a sports classic, which is something in the future I plan on getting a garage straight just for sports classic vehicles, like, you know, the Roosevelt, older sports classic vehicles that I could just store in there and basically have them hit, you know, kind of like a classic car garage. You know what I'm saying? And then, yeah, that'd be pretty cool. I did actually have a plan, and I plan on doing that. If, you know, if I ever, like, get a huge 80, you know, like, Megalodon $80 million shark card, I plan on doing this in the future. But, like, having a garage, like, one garage for all Bravado items, and then, you know, another one for all, basically, Bravado is Dodge, so all Dodge items, and then all Chevy, then all, Toyota and stuff, so on and so forth. Basically, that's kind of what I wanted to do at one point, and then have a sports classics, and then have a sports car, you know, and then have like a just straight up garage designed for like custom cars, like yeah, the custom NPC cars that you can get. Yeah. Then at number 3 has to be this one right here. I can't remember what it's called. The Lampadati Trapsis, whatever it is. This thing is like a rally car basically. Like, it is a sports car, I believe. Yeah. But look at this. Hold up. Just look at the takeoff. Hold on. Look at the front headlights. Oh, I can't actually activate them, but they are flip-up headlights, I believe. But something I really like is A, the color matches, the rim color matches the primary color. But B, those wheels are wide. Like, you know, it catches traction easily. And 2, it's actually called a rally car, which is very cool. And of course, you know, it's basically got the rally car look. You know, if you lift this thing up a little bit, I'm pretty sure you just love this thing for off-road. You know what I'm saying? I mean, of course, you can't actually lift them. If they, you know, Rockstar does Locked and Loaded, or even, you know, Tuners and Outlaws, which are 2 update concepts, I would love it. I mean, I would prefer Locked and Loaded or Locked and Lifted or something like that, simply because lift kits, you know, custom certain cars that you can get. But then again, Tuners Outlaws, just those vehicles, like a million Benny's vehicles right there, like that would be worth finally taking the step and getting a freaking Megalodon shark card, which is $8 million in GTA 5 money, which obviously I would be, that's a yacht right there, which, you know, if I do get that, I'd be torn on whether or not to get a yacht or not, because I could get a $6 million yacht or a $7 million yacht, which I wouldn't mind, you know, but then I don't have $1 million to, you know, spend. And if I get a $6 million yacht, same thing. $2 million isn't too much. But of course, I wouldn't mind it, you know. So yeah, now coming in at the number 2 spot has to be the Burger Shot Stallion, or basically any freaking, not Burger Shot, yeah, Burger Shot Stallion. Any of the custom livery muscle cars that are race cars like this, you know. Any of those has to just be considered good. You know, like, literally, honestly, no lie, and I'm not trying to roast on this Dodge here, but I'm gonna go ahead and just get out, dude. I'm gonna go ahead and just show this Dodge off a little bit, like, show you guys what this Dodge can do, which is an off-road vehicle. You know, you put off-road rims on it, and you can take it off-road. And then I'm gonna show you the capabilities that stock Burger Shot Stallion has. Keep in mind, this is a 4x4 truck, you know, just normal. Real life equivalent is the Dodge Ram 1500 4x4. Honestly, I'm pretty sure it'd be a Hemi. Like, I say it's the Hemi RT because of the way it sounds, the way it feels, the way it rides, but still. Yeah, oh boy. But look at this. You know, I'm going to show you guys this, just one little lap around the track. Like, this thing doesn't have the drifting ability that these, you know, or anything like that. It can just about, you know, handle doing off-road without spinning out right there. You know. Oh. You know, right here, look at that. You can barely do it, and then you have to slow down your turns anyways. Right here, smash. All the other cars I took had the perfect, except for one, which I think was on the original list anyways, had the easiest benefit of just being able to do that, turn easily. You know what I'm saying? Like, right here, you know. And it's just not even a roast on the Dodge. It's just the fact that, you know, certain vehicles aren't meant for this. Like, the Dodge can't do this, but the Dodge can go off-road, up Mount Chiliad and whatnot. You know, this thing isn't meant for it because, A, it's a big, kind of long truck that doesn't have the weight to back up, you know, the, it doesn't have the weight to back up its size. And, yeah, I mean, it does have the weight, but it doesn't have, it's like, there needs to be a perfect ratio between weight and engine power. And, Well, yeah, you know, that's something right there in itself. Like, for example, and my parents say this to me like all the time, and I'm like, what? But it kind of makes sense after a while. They're like, I'm like, hey, so I want this car when I'm older because, you know, you guys are gonna freaking have it when I'm older anyways. It's a P71 police car, which they bought from an auction because we're car dealers. And they're like, no, it's too powerful. We're giving you your mom's Kia Forte Turbo, Kia Forte 5 Turbo, 2016 or 2016. And I'm like, I don't want that. It's too fast. Well, this is too powerful. What do you mean? You know, basically, it's got more power than you know what it is. Then you get what I'm saying. Like, you know, which obviously is something to be expected, but still. You know, look at this thing. This thing can take the drifts like they're nothing, because it's got the perfect ratio of power to weight, and then, you know, the drifting as well. Just, it's perfect. Like, look at that. You know, it's not even a drifting game as well. That's the thing. But of course, number one has, you know, I'm gonna get into number one, and number one, honestly, when I get, you know, a bit more GTA 5 money, I'm trying to grind up to there. But yeah, and I'm also buying a game tomorrow for like $100. It's a, you know, GTA 5 game. Not a GTA 5 game. What am I talking about? Red Dead Redemption 2 is what I'm buying tomorrow. It's like $100. Getting a Visa card. And yeah. Oh boy, hit that jump, hit. Oh dang. Oh boy. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh man. All right, let's take it inside. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I just did that. But yeah, you know, you guys can see the Burger Shot Stallion can tear it up. And it is just amazing when it does it. So let's get out here now, and let's show you guys the number one off-road vehicle that is not an off-road vehicle, in my opinion. And it has to be the Wilford Faction Custom Donk Muscle Car. So in real life, this thing is modeled after a Buick. Let me go ahead and look it up real quick so I can tell you guys what to look up on your phone. So sorry I can't edit it in the picture, but you guys can get what I'm saying by going on YouTube, or not YouTube, Google. So let me type in 1998 or 1980 Buick Regal. Now I'm pretty sure it's, yep. All right. So if you go on your phone right now, and 1980 Buick Regal, ooh, not exactly that old. Let me try and like 1987 Buick Regal. Let's see what that looks like. Ooh, yes, perfect. Look up 1987 Buick Regal. This thing looks literally, it's an exact counterpart of the normal Wilford Faction. Now type in, if you go to images now, it'll say 1987 Buick Regal, and it is beautiful. Now I'm going to type in 1987 Buick Regal Donk. And this thing looks literally very similar to the way this thing looks. So, you know, it is a very, very powerful vehicle. And in real life, it has a sentimental thing, because, yeah, I used to love this thing in Midnight Club Los Angeles, which was a very, very fun, popular racing game for GTA 5, or not GTA, for Rockstar to have, and I loved it. I'm actually planning on getting a PS3 just for that game. But this thing, you know, you put some off-road wheels in this, you get the camouflage livery, and you put, you know, 4x4 on the license plate. You know, you're pretty good with this. So, you know, it's got the amazing lift, like this kind of like the Sand King, but the tires can, you know, actually reach it. You know, it's got the power of a muscle car, which is pretty cool. Sadly, it isn't 4x4, but still, you guys get what I'm saying. You know, it's powerful, and even though it's not just as powerful, you know, the lift makes up for it, considering the fact that even though it's got a lift, it doesn't have a high center of gravity, which I very much like. You know, it's got the low center of gravity, which is very, very appreciated when you have this kind of car. And look at this. Whoa. Oh boy. I love how the tire just sunk into the ground there. I very much like that. But yeah. So yeah, that's the kind of 5 cars, I guess you'd say, that have to be on that list. Now, we're going to get into the next 5, and this is the last 5, which are like SUV vehicles that have to be on this list. Like, you know, kind of 15 best off-road type vehicles. Which obviously, just, if I don't include them, I would feel like I was robbing you guys if I didn't include these vehicles. You know what I'm saying? I mean, of course, you guys can only take, you know, the vehicles I used originally, but of course, you have to take, you know, I have to put these on here. And these vehicles have to be Baller 2013 and the Baller normal. Honestly, I prefer the look of the normal Baller, simply because it just looks more or less like a new, or I guess newer Land Rover, basically. Or not newer, older. And I like the look of older cars. Like, old body style cars just look beautiful to me, you know. They literally can pull it off. And then, of course, you have to have the Patriot, aka the Hummer. By the way, the Baller is actually based off of the Land Rover. You know, Dubsta 6x6, honestly, I mean, I'm gonna include it simply because it's okay. But of course, it's no off-road worthy vehicle because it is only a 4x4 on the back wheels. Front wheel is just, you know, like a normal, like, it's basically like this Jeep. It's basically like this car. The back wheel drives and the front wheel steers. Front wheel does not have any power going to it except for the steering wheel. Exactly like that with the Dubsta 6x6, which means if your two back wheels get put up, your front wheel's kind of scarred. Which very much sucks. But I did that in testing, and I figured it out that, you know, it's like that, which really did suck. Of course, I'm gonna have to include the Contender, which was 4, and then 5. I mean, this is off-road. You know, I can't add any of these vehicles here, simply because they're off-road class. Even though the Sadler would be pretty decent to add. Now, this right here, the Bifta, honestly, I mean, I would consider an off-road vehicle, but, you know, not worthy enough for the off-road vehicle thing, you know. Also, how is the Street Blazer considered an off-road? It literally says street. But yeah. Military, no. Police, no. Police? Nah, what am I? I just want to make sure there's nothing better than the Bifta. Because if there is, I'm not putting the Bifta on here. Yeah, the Bifta has to be on here. Oh, Vans. Oh, this right here is terrible. No lie, it actually is, though. Terrible for off-roading. You know, it's slow, it just can't handle it. But, for the heck of it, I have to include it. Because it's not under the off-road class. It's under the van class. Even though I'm pretty sure it's an off-road van. No, it's gonna say, alright, hopefully it's not an off-road. But yeah, basically that's kind of, you know, these are the last 5 that have to be on. And then I'll end the video out and do another video, which is going to be top 5 best muscle cars. And basically, I'll be explaining that later, but that's kind of what I want to do. I'm kind of into these kind of videos about these muscle cars and whatnot. But yeah, so coming in at the number 5 spot for these 5 vehicles has got to be the 6x6. And I know I'm giving it a lot of hate, but I bought it. I wasted money on it in GTA 5 Online. Grinded 25 races straight of, you know, custom special vehicle races, and then wasted money on this like an idiot. And, you know, it's not that good. Like, I'm going to show you. Of course, it is good considering, you know, I would drive it, and I'm driving it around in GTA 5 Online. But it's just not worth it to me. You know what I'm saying, guys? To me, it's not worth it. And even though I wasted my money on it, I regret it. If I could take that money back and just, you know, grind a little bit more, I'd get the Vaca or something like that. Even though I'm more of a you know, off-road person than a sports car and you know, supercar person. Like I'd pick a muscle car and an off-road truck over a supercar and a you know, one of those kind of cars any day, pretty much. Yeah. But as you guys can see, hold up, when I back up, you don't see the smoke, the dirt coming out of the tires of my front wheel. You only see it when I go forward because I have the back wheels pushing forward. So yeah, oh boy. Which again really does suck in my opinion, because this vehicle would have been a lot better if it was 6-wheel drive, honestly, you know, or even all-wheel drive, whatever it's called. But sadly, it's only 4-wheel drive in the back, which again sucks. Even if it was only, you know, 2 wheels in the back moved. You know, the back left and the back right, and then the front wheel, 2 front wheels moved. I wouldn't even care if it was that. But you know, maybe Rockstar just doesn't have the way to code it. Maybe they're not that good. I don't know. You know. But yeah, let's hit this jump right here. Oh dang. Oh gosh. Oh perfect. Oh beautiful. Oh my gosh. That was just beautiful. There we are. Alright, coming in at the number 4 spot, and honestly, that probably doesn't deserve to be at the number 5 spot, but shoot, you know, I'll put it at the number 3 spot. Just say I did it in advance. Alright, I'll put it at the number 3 spot. Alright, so then technically coming in at the number 5 spot, because honestly, it is pretty good, honestly. I'm not going to bash on it too much. It is a pretty good truck. You know, it just, I have a personal thing I don't like about it. So coming in at the number 5 spot then has to be the Hummer. Or the Patriot. Now the reason this is at the number 5 spot, honestly, is because there is, you know, a few things about it that I just don't like. Number one, how much it costs to insure the dang thing. This thing's like $12,000 to insure. And like $5,000 to get a tracker on it. It's like, that's insane, honestly. Like, I steal this thing off the street and I'm like, oh crap, I ain't paying 12 grand to freaking put a tracker on it. Insurance, you crazy. So obviously that's one of the reasons why, but you know, again. It is honestly a really good off-road vehicle. What I really want is like a Patriot Classic. I think that's what it's called, right? No, yeah, Mammoth Patriot Classic, where it either has a Humvee or, you know, where it's either like an older Humvee or even a retro custom where it's like, you know, like another version like the Hummer H2 or even the Hummer H1, you know. But this thing, you put some off-road rims on this, you get it licensed and insured and all that crap, you could tear it up again, you know, like look at this. Look at it. Would you just look at it? You know, I mean, it doesn't have the drifting, but it does have the weight and the power distribution perfectly. Like, even though right there I did spin out, which is kind of my fault, look at that. We get right back into it with pretty much no issue. Like, if that were a race, you'd be right back into it within seconds. And that's more than what most of these vehicles can say when they spin out. Like, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at it. Look at it. Right back into it. It is perfect. Like, this is literally just a perfect off-road SUV. If you're looking for that, like, you're looking for like an SUV for like, you know, fun and whatnot, you know, just for fun, maybe you do role-playing videos, this would be it right here. Like, this or the Baller, aka the Land Rover, would just be it. So yeah. Wow, first time I've taken that jump successfully in the entire time I've ever done this track. Every time I take it, I always end up crashing and failing. Brake, slammed right into the van. Luckily it does have a little bar there protecting the lights, with a light, not like bull bar protecting the lights and whatnot, but still. So yeah, let's just back it up right here. So coming in at the number 4 spot has to be the Baller, aka the Land Rover, and this thing is just beast. I have one of these set up off-road, and this thing is a beast. Like, I love it on-road. It looks beautiful. Like, you know, when you drive it on-road, it looks beautiful. It can handle it off. It can handle itself off-road. But it is just a beautiful type of vehicle. And it's one of the few good-looking off-road, old-body style vehicles in the game. Like, something I really very much want, and I know Rockstar will never do it because it's kind of past that, is having a retro, I guess retro custom. Yeah, an older, you know, version of one of the pickup, maybe taking Bobcat and turning that into like an old Ford truck or an old Dodge truck, or taking the Dodge, the Bison, Bravado Bison, aka Dodge Ram, because it's the likeness of the Dodge Ram, and turning that into a, turning that Bison into a, very well, a, what's it called? Turning the Bison into a older Dodge Ram, or even a two-door version, and maybe making it an old two-door Dodge Ram. And then, you know, taking the Sand King and maybe making that into a, you know, an older Ford truck or something like that. Something, you know, very interesting like that. And taking the Bobcat, making that an old Chevy. Even though it is an older Chevy, maybe making like a retro car. I don't know. You know, you guys can come up with the ideas down yourselves. But, you know what I'm saying? Just something like that. Maybe even adding in their own old body style Dodge, Ford, some kind of old body style truck. Because you guys know, whenever a truck comes out for an update, I'm all about getting it. Like, I make sure I get it. When the Guardian came out for the Christmas, I think it was a Christmas update, I got it. I made sure I went out and bought it. When, you know, all sorts of off-road vehicles come out, I buy them. So, yeah. So, coming in at the number 3 spot, we had the, this junky thing, the, 6x6 Dubsta. So coming in at the number 2 spot has got to be this van right here. Now, the reason this van is in at the number 2 spot, and one of the reasons I really like it, honestly, is because one of the cool features this van has that a lot of other vans in the game don't, including the minivan, which I, in real life, have never seen a minivan where the back doors open outward instead of, where the back doors open and open like the front doors instead of rolling like these back doors do. I've never seen that. Never in my life. But this was one of the very few vehicles in the game that is a van to have the doors that move like that. And that's something I really like about it, considering that only the Yoga, the custom van, and the normal van, of course, from Benny's, and one other van have the rolling back doors, which basically roll on wheels and all sorts, which is really cool, but still. And then, yeah, the only issue is that because it's such a high vehicle, even though it's an off-road vehicle, it does have a very high center of gravity, which means that it's not really too good because, again, wind right there, that should not have tipped. But, of course, the high center of gravity tips it, and the fact that it's a van, so it's a box, basically any amount of wind coming at it when you're turning toward the wind, basically, is going to tip it, you know? If I'm going left and the wind's coming from the left, it's going to hit, and tip. Or actually, my bad. If I'm going left and the wind's coming from the right, it's going to kind of tip me over, you know? Like, look at that. Look at that. Tip. You know, that's one of the issues with this van, but of course, you know, what are you gonna expect, you know? But yeah. So I'm gonna do dedicated stream to just off-roading on this little map, because I really do like it, you know? I'm gonna have, like, going through this whole thing, I don't know, though. I might even make a map on this thing, like a racing thing, I don't know, you know? Let's go. Ooh, boy. Something I actually do like about... Oh, crap. See, look at that. Look at that. That's the way the back doors should open on the minivans. The minivan custom, actually, was the first vehicle to have those kind of doors, I think. It was either the minivan custom or the original van. I'm not sure which one came first, but I think the minivan custom came first, and it had those doors. Which I was very much, you know, intrigued about. Now, coming in at the number 1 spot, again, this is a SUV vehicle, is the Contender. This thing is based off of a Toyota Tundra, mixed with kind of like the back doors. It looks all around exactly like a Toyota Tundra. Like, how Rockstar is getting away with this is beyond me, but it does look like a Toyota Tundra. I was kind of like saying, oh, it looks a little bit like a Dodge at the beginning, but there's no doubt, it's a Toyota Tundra, you know? It's very much a Toyota Tundra. Get some off-roading wheels on this, it's a Toyota Tundra, you know? And I just like the way it looks. It is performing amazingly. You know, when I bought this thing at first, I was loving it. And honestly, if I sell the 6x6 for anything near what I paid for it, I may even get one of these, because this was like only like $250,000. Same as a 6x6, I believe. And it's got way higher speed for on-road and off-road. A lot better off-road capabilities, and it's got an amazing looking suspension. Like, look at this. Hold up. Look at it. Look at how it just... The back of the back suspension buckles and the front suspension releases, and it allows you to climb over this without freaking without scraping the bottom of your vehicle. Or like right over here when I go off this little hill thing, you guys are gonna see it's not steep enough. Crap. If I do something like this right here, but as you guys can see, when I pull off, this thing does everything in its power to have the front wheels touching the ground and the back wheels touching the ground. How do I describe it? Basically have the back wheels buckled and have the front wheels touching the ground. Look at that. Look at this. I want to show you guys. Front wheels are now buckled. The back wheels are now extended. Which is very cool to me. Of course, it's got amazing power. Like, look at that. Dang, one of the few trucks that's ever done that, pretty much. Boom. So yeah, next video I do is going to be a top 5 muscle cars video where I do pretty much top 5 muscle cars, and this is all my opinion, you know. Your opinion maybe the Duster 6x6 is the best, and all those other vehicles can follow it. But yeah, what I think. So thank you guys so much for watching. Like the video if you like it, share it if you like it, and subscribe if you're new around here. Or, you know, subscribe if you're new around here. I try to make videos like this daily on my channel. If you subscribe, you'll see them daily on your homepage.